My name is Roctavia. I am the rock news correspondent US for a little blog called Rock News UK. And I am here with Der Miss. How about you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves to your international audience here in the US?
Hello, we're Der Mist. I'm Craig.
And I am Ali.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to give you guys the floor. I have a couple questions to ask you, but what I was really excited about is that, so apparently in a couple of days, you guys have an album coming out, and I have perfect timing where I get to talk to you about it. So I'm really excited about that. I know you guys had a couple singles drop and you had some radio play. Can you guys go ahead and tell us a little bit more about what's been going on with your new music?
Yeah, we've had 3 singles out now. We made a conscious decision to hold back on the release. We just started the band just before lockdown, and yeah, it was a tough one to take when we went into full-scale lockdown and we had to change our plans for putting the music out. We've had to do everything remotely. I think Craig and I have only met up maybe 6 or 7 times in total since last March, and we've just been busy working away on recording, mixing, mastering, doing videos, photo shoots where we can, and I think we got out for a couple of days to try and make some of the practical things happen, like getting videos done and photographs taken. So it's been really strange. So we got to the stage where we had enough songs to put an album out, and we thought we'd wait till the new year, a new start, a new year, and we released the first single, It's Alright, just at the beginning of February there. Or was it the end of January? Beginning of February? Can't remember.
Yeah, we just unloaded everything within a short space of time.
It was like January, February, like right in within that couple week time span, wasn't it?
Yeah, just every Friday we've had a release for the last month or so, and obviously this week we've got the album coming out, which is the kind of high point, hopefully, and really excited to give everyone a full picture of what we're all about, because I feel like the singles we've released, we love them, but I think there's so much, we've got so much more to offer that's on the album, and loads of different sounds and stuff going on, so looking forward to getting out.
That sounds really exciting. So what I was curious about, and what a lot of the US listeners who might not have an idea of like what your sound is based or grounded in, can you give them an idea of what they can expect with this new album? No spoilers, just give them an idea of the sound quality.
Spoiler alert! Yeah, well, my background's very much from a kind of 90s and noughties indie background, and into a lot of American indie music as well, and the Seattle bands as well, and I kind of have brought some of that into Der Mist. I met Craig through a music project that I set up about 10 years ago, and we clicked. Craig came in and had some songs that he was working on, and we ended up just started working on them together. So we've been in bands together in the past, but this was like a new thing. We wanted to bring a different sound to this music and this lineup. So it's definitely got influences of indie rock, but it's also got some heavy synth R&B elements to it. We like a lot of different styles of music, so that we think that comes across in the album.
Yeah, I think it's really diverse. There's everything from EDM to rap to funk to just straight up pop. I think there's something in there for everyone, and I think that I would describe it as being modern but really nostalgic and drawn on a lot of sounds that you already know while still being fresh.
I feel like I'm gonna geek out here a little bit. I'm really excited to hear like all these descriptions. As we know, like I hate to bring up some like kind of things people might still be kind of sore or soft on, but Daft Punk just announced that they have separated. Did you guys have any influence from this group at all?
Daft Punk is one of our go-to bands. I think we both had a love for Daft Punk.
We relate to them because there's two of them and there's two of us.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was
They're
so
passing the
excited.
torch
To, like,
on.
hear from
That's
you
what it
guys.
is.
Couldn't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna fill the void.
I wish.
Yeah, I think obviously they've not released any new material for a while, and I think it was still a shock to hear that they had decided to call it a day, and quite kind of emotional as well. And
Yes.
I remember when their first material came out, and I really like a lot of electronic and synth music now, so Daft Punk have been a big influence to me getting into more of that style of music. And yeah, you're dead right. I think that is a band that we've been influenced by, and not overly influenced by that on this album, but I think there's shades of it in there.
They played a festival in Scotland called Rock Ness, which is a very small festival.
Yeah.
And I always remember people talking about it, oh, Daft Punk played Rock Ness, and you're like, thinking back how small a festival that is for them to play, the people that were there must have been like, wow, you know.
Like I remember a couple years back, I wasn't able to make it, but they played Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
And I think that had to have been the most influential, like, EDM live set. I think it set the tone for a lot of the festivals that came after it, for like what they based how they're going to operate their festival and like what experience they wanted from it. And it was groundbreaking. It kind of set the tone for everything. Kind of grew up with them, grew up listening. I listened to all sorts of music. So when you guys said that, you know, your new album and your sound is diverse and you draw from so many different types of background, like R&B, and like you have some heavy synth coming in and stuff like that. Like I love hearing that. I love hearing like where your inspiration comes from, specific artists, like music that your fans and your fan base and people who are discovering you can grow with.
My influences are bands like LCD Sound System, Goldfrapp, Kraftwerk, Talking Heads, New Order, that type of thing. And Craig's got a whole other range of influences.
Yeah, everything from David Bowie to Grimes or Kendrick Lamar, all the 90s hip hop as well, Biggie Smalls, all that stuff. I love it.
That's what gives a group or a musician a lot of staying power. To have a diverse, broad scope of like, to be open to sounds, to be open to listening to things, to be open to like expanding where you're heading. That's what keeps everything fresh.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because a big thing that we discussed when we started the band was we wanting this project to last, and we're going to come back with as much material as we can every year. You know, we're going to try and put stuff out. Might not be every year, we'll see how it pans out, obviously with all the stuff that's going on now, but that was a big thing for us, was let's build stuff that's hopefully timeless, you know, and we can go back to it and not cringe, but also stuff that, you know, we can work on and we can grow and develop.
Yeah, I've been in some bands in the past that I've had some levels of success, but even from a musical point of view, I was never really happy with some of the recordings or the sounds that the bands were going in. And I've recorded in some great studios in the UK, and I just always felt there was something missing from probably what I wanted to hear in the music, and also just from a technical point of view and a sonic point of view. So I've got into a lot of production, and the music project that I work with, I'm quite involved in recording techniques, and I love sonics and audio. I just love it, and I think it's been really interesting because this is the best sound. I'm more excited about this than any other music project I've done in the past, because it's the type of music I've kind of always wanted to make, and it's weird that it's become at a time when we've been so restricted that you can't go into studios, you can't rehearse, you can't just hang out. You know, it's been in a really strict environment where we're sending mix files to each other, you know, and then working on them when we can, and then sending them back, and doing this as well, doing video calls, just hanging out, doing video calls, listening to live gigs and things like that. It's and doing the Dermist Mondays, doing the YouTube channel. has kind of got us through lockdown, to be honest.
Yeah, I was really impressed when I was scrolling through a lot of stuff, how busy you guys actually seem and how well you seem to be processing the time that we are kind of forced to be away from the world here right now. Tell us more about your kind of side projects and like the podcasts that you guys have going on.
The idea was initially, this is before lockdown, we said let's document our journey as a band. So in the past, when we played in different projects, we noticed how the music industry, sometimes it isn't all it's cracked up to be. You know, when you're playing those small venue gigs and it's pay to play and all these kind of things, you need to buy your own tickets, and if you don't sell 50 tickets, you owe the money and things like that. We wanted to document all that and film it, but we haven't even played a gig yet. So we've had to come up with all this content because we'd made a commitment to doing a weekly video chat, which has been the greatest thing ever, because that has led to us working on stuff after we've done the video, you know. The output that we've had because we've made a weekly commitment, it's became like a almost spiritual meeting, you know. You just know it's looming over you every week. When it gets to Monday, the video's going to come out, and yeah, it's been great.
I wasn't so confident at the beginning. I kind of thought, I don't think we're going to be able to keep this up. There's no way, with work and family and
we still think
loads
that.
of other things going on. I know I still say that. I'm like, oh no, I've got a video to do. But Craig's right. It has become a bit of a weekly ritual, and we wouldn't have been anywhere near as productive if we hadn't really pushed ourselves to do those videos. Some of the content is better than others, but it's definitely it's been amazing to think that we've created a document through time, almost like a time capsule over COVID of our the start and formation of our band, and that's never going to go away. That's always going to be there for people to see, whether we make it on mainstream media or not.
I really like the video where you guys were kind of giving other bands advice on how to come up with their band names, and you had all the pointers and like do's and don'ts. It was really funny. And tell us a little bit more how you guys actually came up with your band. It's German, isn't it?
The band name was a bit of a saga. It took us ages to come up with. We had actually put being a band on hold just to come up with a band name, and there was so many rules we had. Like when we wanted a band name that when you search it in Google, we're the only thing that comes up, which is a difficult thing to get because there's bands that have got just ridiculous names. Everybody's in a band, so everybody's used all the good band names. So we were only left with.
There's not a lot left.
Yeah, yeah.
Point where you're like you're a the or you're not a the.
Well, we discussed that as well, didn't we? We put quite a lot of time into should we be a the band or not a the band, you know?
Yeah.
But we used all of the tricks of the trade to finally settle on a band name. We used band name generators, which came up with some ridiculous names, trying to combine two words together to make a completely new word. What else did we do? Trying to change letters within a word.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like churches or Kesha, or you know, they use like symbols, or they turn U's into V's, or turn letters upside down. Or, but we ended up thinking, well, let's look at some foreign language words as well, and that was one of the tips we'd looked at. And Der Mist kind of popped up in one of our searches, and we loved the sound of it, the look of, you know, just how it looked as a name, and we think it kind of represents the music that we're making. So I mean, it does have a German it is a German slang phrase. Funnily enough, we went to all that energy to pick the band name, and since we've done the release, we have had one local radio station in the north of Scotland who says that they're not going to play the music because they don't want to offend their German viewers and their German listeners. So, but hopefully that's not a trend that will continue. Hopefully people will see past that.
So I find it really interesting that you guys formed the band just before lockdown and everything started, and you haven't even gotten to play any shows together. So now the sky's the limit as far as what your plans are once everything opens back up. And apparently in the UK that should be fairly soon, because you guys are doing pretty well over there, I hear, right?
Yeah, in Scotland we're probably doing better than the rest of the UK. I think down south in England and Wales it's slightly different because there's more population down there. So yeah, we're dead lucky here in Scotland. I think we've managed it reasonably well, and fingers crossed we'll get back to maybe summertime where we might be able to have some outdoor events maybe.
I think most people in their 50s now have had their jags, and I think they're just going down the age groups. So
yeah.
For US viewers, by the way, having your jab means getting a shot.
Yeah. Your jab. I know it's quite a Scottish thing. Getting the jag. We call it the jag.
It's Glaswegian. You need to learn the Glaswegian lingo if you want to tangle with their mist on the radio.
Well, this is big on TikTok at the moment. We don't have a TikTok account yet. I wonder if we'll ever get one. But that seems to be the go-to as Scottish versions of American or just traditional language. You know, what slang words the Scots would use for.
I've encountered a couple of my friends from Scotland who can they imitate the American accent to a T. It's eerie how they can switch back from garb to an accent, and one moment I'm like, huh?
We speak so fast, that's the thing. When we speak to each other, it's just so quick.
I don't know, it's almost like a magic trick for us over here when we hear somebody with a British accent or somebody with a Scottish accent, like, you know, you're speaking normally and then you start speaking like an American. We're just like mesmerized, like, how'd you do that? Basically, if you guys, you know, everything goes as scheduled, everything goes according to plan, and we can have shows again, what would be your ultimate venue? What are you guys looking forward to doing the most once we can do this?
Yeah, we spoke about this before, didn't we? We actually did a Dermist episode about, because a lot of the venues in Glasgow are closed and they're struggling as well. They're really finding it hard to stay open. There's so many amazing venues that have hosted some incredible gigs over the past, and just locally to us there's venues like King Tut's and Nice and Sleazy's. I mean, that sounds exactly that is exactly what it is. It's a basement.
Yeah.
I love those tiny little corner hole wall venues where they're writing on the wall and you're just like, what just happened to me? But I love it.
Yeah, the 13th Note, you can only fit about 50 people in it, and you know, those types of venues, they're really, really struggling. So romantically, we want to be back in a position where we know we can play those venues again. But the sort of in the future, where would we like to play? It's a good question.
Headline Glastonbury. That's got to be on that one on the CV.
Glastonbury's an amazing festival. I was fortunate enough to play Glastonbury with a previous band, and it's an amazing experience. And they've got the pyramid stage. Go back to the Daft Punk story, you know.
Yeah.
They created their pyramid stage for touring, and Glastonbury's got the very famous pyramid stage, which would be a fantastic place to play. But like you're saying, there's some amazing festivals in America. Maybe we can get over there one day.
You would be happy to have you guys come over here and, like, you know, show everybody what you got. There's plenty of festivals out here where you guys probably like take off, hit the ground running, just blow up, become really big.
It's a shame we can't drive over there. I've got a killer camper van that I did myself out of an old transit van, and would love just to be able to fling the guitars and amps into the van and drive over.
Are you reading my mind? Like,
Route 66.
I wanted to do that so many times. It would be easier, so much easier to just throw all your gear, go to a gig.
Sell that house.
I love how you guys were mentioning playing smaller venues. There's a lot of kind of grassroots campaigns out there for the struggling tiny venues who are, you know, just not doing so hot. Like, what is it? Hashtag I love live. And like for us over here, we have Save Our Stages, smaller things. Like, so it's really honorable. I love, that was one of my most favorite answers because it's a cause after my own heart, because there are so many huge groups that got their start in those tiny little clubs and those tiny little gigs, the small shows. They're super important, super important.
I have to say that there's nothing better than when you go to a small gig on a whim or whatever, or you just think, oh, let's just go to a gig tonight, and then you get blown away in a small venue and you're right at the front, it's hard to beat that. Well,
interestingly enough, the last gig we went to see before lockdown was in a place called Broadcast, which is right next door to Nice and Sleazy's. So we've got, what have we got? What's on that street again? We've got Sucky Hall Street, which is one of the main thoroughfares in Glasgow, and on that street at one end there's about 5 venues. There's Broadcast, there's Nice and Sleazy's, there's Box, there's the Garage, I'm sure there's a couple others. But we went to see is he from Holland?
No, he's from Sweden.
A Swedish artist called Sir Was, and I had stumbled across him. I think I was going to see the support act. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, we're going to see the support act.
The main band was this band called Sir Was, and I said to Craig, do you fancy going? And we just went along. It's a venue that only holds, maybe, you're lucky, I don't even think you get 100 people in there. I think maybe about 80 people. And quite lo-fi on record, their sort of sound is quite lo-fi. But when they played live, it was absolutely mind-bending. It was like one of the best gigs I've ever been to, and in such a small venue. I'll never forget that. And weird that it was the last gig before lockdown.
So if, when everything pans out, you could collaborate with anybody, are there anybody or any group in particular that you have on your radar that you would love to collaborate with?
Well, we're getting some remixes done. We already have heard a remix of It's Alright, which was our first single, and it's going to be in collaboration with a Glasgow-based artist, kind of a bit like Daft Punk. Wears the mask, wears a visor, so nobody really knows who he is. But he's doing a remix of It's Alright, so that's a collaboration that we're working with at the moment. But I don't know, who do you think, Craig, for future collabs?
I don't know. I think we've collabed with our friend Jamie, who's a Glasgow Paisley based drummer, for doing some live stuff. So I think because there's only 2 of us, collaborating for live stuff could be cool, because we could have a kind of revolving door of band members to play with us. So it'd be quite cool to get some different people singing or playing keys with us or whatever, changing the sound up for the live style thing. But it's hard to say names. I think we just need to put the feelers out and see who's people who are into it and get involved when the time comes.
Yeah, Jamie plays in a great band called Bad Mannequins, another 2-piece Glasgow band. You should go and check those guys out as well. Give them some love.
That was good. Yeah, I'll...
Maybe it's the register thing. Maybe I need to keep it low. Yeah. Maybe I need to keep it low. Yeah.
I do have one last question before I jump off with you guys. It's kind of an off-the-cuff question. I like to bring a little levity into everything, and I ask like my weird closing questions. So if you could have any kind of superpower in the world, anything at all, what would your superpower be and why?
That's a good one. Mine would be to stop time. I'd love to just like stop time and just go around and look at things in the world and do all the things I want to do, and then just go poof, back to reality.
A superpower, yeah, probably similar to Craig's. I'd probably like have time travel. Time travel would be very useful. You could fix a lot of the world's problems with time travel, I think.
Immortality would be good as well.
That's the Highlander coming out in you.
The Highlander.
Yeah.
Well, those were amazing answers and very honorable too. I just want to take the time out to thank you guys so much for giving Rock News UK your time today. We really appreciate you guys. Again, my name's Roctavia, and I am here with Der Mist out of Scotland. So thank you guys again for your time. And is there anything else that you would like to leave your US and the rest of the world with before we head out?
Please go and check out our debut album. It's self-titled Der Mist. It'll be out this Friday the 26th.
26, yeah.
Available on all good streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal. We're a big fan of Tidal. They do good things over on Tidal. Be sure to check out the Facebook channel and give us a like, a share. But what we really like is when people contact us and send us messages, and we hook up and do things like this.
Woohoo!
Thank you so much for having us. Really hugely appreciated.
Woohoo!